This is typically how you complete an audit document. So I took my time for this. How you complete what? A work program. I took my time to walk through this because this is the first document I'll be showing you, I'll be exposing you to. Okay. The other document, before we get to materiality, I'll just quickly talk about it. Tell you the same principle. You respond to it, you sign off, you reference where appropriate. Now, let's go back to our dashboard. I've completed the sign off here. Now, if I go back to my Caseware and I go to my dashboard, what you should see on your dashboard now is this to then turn to yellow. But it has not turned to yellow. By default, if I do a refresh, it should turn to yellow. If I want to see the change immediately, I can come to this icon that looks like settings, can then come to refresh completion status, legend. You then see this has turned to yellow. What's the meaning of yellow? Don't forget, yellow means in progress. In progress means, and what drives the color change? What drives the color change is the sign off. When you sign off on the entire document. What that means is you have signed off on this, but before this tab will turn to green and completed, you must then sign off on everything in this document, in this tab or in this folder. Now, the beauty about this dashboard easily is it just gives you a pictorial diagram. Once your partner or your manager says that everything is in blue, that means a lot has not been done. There's no point for them to waste their time to review it. All together. Good. So I've spoken about client acceptance and continuance and the likes. So let me quickly move to what? Overall this strategy. Let's move overall this strategy. Overall this strategy, okay, because our file is on core, developer engagement, we still have quite a lot of documents, but I'll just quickly talk about two major documents. Number one, open forming document 430, 430, that's overall this strategy. 430, click on that, open that for me. And also go back to your dashboard. Overall this strategy now. Open document 438. 438. After you accept an engagement, then what's your strategy? You want to document your strategy, document what needs to be done. I'll wait for you for a few seconds. I'll wait for you for a few seconds. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so under the overall this strategy, I start to open document overall this strategy number one, and also open document 438, 430, and 438. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not joking. What are you doing? No, that's your name. What are you doing? We are here to end our worship.
Isaiah, mute yourself, please. Okay, guys, let's move on. So the next thing we want to do. Oh God, Isaiah, can you mute yourself?
Sorry.
Now, the next thing we want to look at now is document 430. So let's start with document 430. That's overall audit strategy. Now, under the overall audit strategy, two things I just want to quickly mention to you before we close. We just have about 15 minutes to go. I'll release you 15 minutes. About 15, 20 minutes to go, actually. So, document 430. On that document 430, you have overall audit strategy. Now, you need to document the strategy you want to use in the course of your audit. So, what are the strategy? Under the information, you put in your information, you put in your comment, then also ask you what are the reporting framework, what industry, what specialized reporting requirement, you comment, you sign off, and you reference. Now, the key dates, you put in the reporting deadline, when the fieldwork start, when the fieldwork end. You want to document all of this. If you have any document to reference here, you come here and reference this. And what are the factors to be considered in the result of the audit? You want to document everything here. And when you have any document here, based on your strategy, you should have a strategy for each of the audit. Okay. Now, what are the team members? The audit team members from the engagement partner, the assistant, if you are using the work of an expert and the likes, and you reference it here, and like, so if you then have a strategy that you have documented, okay, you want to plan this, you plan this, and like, you have a strategy somewhere, you can then also reference the strategy. Okay, but what I want to emphasize in respect of audit strategy is under the sign-off, compared to the other document that we saw sign off on the document completed by and reviewed by. Under the sign-off here, we have what? Completed preliminary, review prelim, completed final, reviewed final. We have completed prelim, review prelim, completed final, review final. Now, what does that mean? What this means is this. I'll go back to Caseware, and I'll tell you that you can have a strategy at the planning stage at the beginning of the audit, but your strategy can change. You also have audit strategy at the risk response stage. Your strategy can change in the middle of the audit based on certain information you're not aware of. So, hence, when you set your strategy here, you can only sign off on what? On the preliminary level. That's at the planning level. When you get into the middle of the audit, that's under the risk response. If your strategy would then change, you then come in and say, subsequent changes in strategy. You update what caused the change, and then the change in strategy, you then further then come in and sign off on the final. If the strategy did not change, we state that there's no change in the strategy, and the strategy will still remain the same thing. So, and that's the purpose of this. So I'll just emphasize on the little thing that is different here. Then here also we can then come in and click on sign off. Okay, so after this, I'll just sign off on this. Sign off on this. I'll not major. I will not emphasize on sign off again after this, but you know you must then sign off on your document. Now, I want to quickly go talk about what document 438. Document 438 is what we call audit planning letter, or what some people call audit planning memorandum. Of course, as you know, audit planning memorandum is the letter that you send to your board of directors before stating your approach and what you want to do in the course of the audit. Now, what Caseware have not done also is to give you that letter format that you can then use for the purpose of the audit. Okay, so let's move on. So what we then have here is what is said there, Mr. Client. You talk about this, the scope and the timing, the materiality you want to use. What are the significant changes that you want to mention to the client in respect of the standard, the IFRS requirement, and the likes? And what's the internal control? What are the significant risks? This is very, very important. What are the significant risks, inherent significant risks based on the nature of the entity? We need to talk about it. And what are the proposed audit response? What are the proposed audit response you want to take as the auditor in addressing each audit risk? What are the proposed audit response you want to take as the auditor in addressing the risk? You then have uncommitted misstatement. I want to talk about the action. So this is a letter format. You complete all of this. I can then print this out in a letter headed. Is it the name of the person that is here is a engagement partner and the firm's name, and this pulls directly from what the information store. Once I'm done, also I can go ahead and sign off on this and sign off on this. Is that clear? Fantastic. So let's move on. So it's the same principle. So let's now move to client meeting and deliverables. Client meeting and deliverables. Client meeting and deliverables, I'm just speaking them one after the other, and we're looking at some of the core documents. Another client meeting and deliverables, open for me document 441. Open for me document 441. Okay, so let's start with document 441. On that document 441, this is based on ISA 300. You want to read about ISA 300, you can then go and read more about it. But on that document 441, Caseware then tells you what are the firm deliverables. Guys, are we here? Are you in document 441? Are you in document 441?
Yes.
Thank you. Good. We then talk about what? The firm deliverables. Under the firm deliverable, this document help you to plan your audit because we are still in the planning stage. And don't forget who does the planning. It is either the manager, based on your firm hierarchy, it's either the team lead or the manager out there with the partner plan. Unless if it's a woman, but it's either the team lead or the manager that plans. Okay? But it is what they have planned for and the risk assessment, the risk they've assessed, that is what the associate would then what go and do when it comes to what the risk response execution. Okay, so of course, as you know, the planning also will be done in the office, not in the client office. You will go to what the client office for risk response execution. Okay, so now what are the documents you need? What are the documents you need, and what are the firm deliverables? Number one, can I say, Mr. Client, our firm deliverables is we'll get our financial statement draft ready by this social date. Our final should be ready by this social date. Okay? Is there any other deliverables you firm-wide deliverables you and your client have achieved? Let's assume your management letter. Can you say you want my management letter this social date? Okay. Now, do you then need additional deliverables that you feel is not captured there? Can then come to a number of additional deliverables. And it's a number of additional deliverables. And click on this drop down and say you want to add 2. For example, if you are doing tax services or tax return, you can come here and say what tax return. If you are a consultant, tax consultant, tax return. I check this. Come here. Are we good? Okay. So once we have achieved that, the next thing I want to do is these are deliverables. So, but in order to achieve our deliverables, one is our key date. So I come here again and go to key date. When is your planning meeting with the client? You put a budgeted date for the planning meeting. If you're doing interim work, you check. If you are not doing interim work, you don't check it. When do you plan?